On the start, from fourth place on the starting grid. 20 laps of Calder Park, all in readiness.
And Malcolm Campbell left to start without any shadow of a doubt. Michael Dowson hauls him in. Gardner is in about fourth place at this moment, but you can see him there beautifully slotted, keeping clear of trouble and not fussing at the moment. Neil Chivers further back on 56.
And it's Robbie Phillips who rounds them up on the four-stroke Suzuki, just as Peter Clifford suggested, and leads them down the back straight. But how long will it be before they overhaul him on these nimble Grand Prix machines?
Followed by Dowson and by Malcolm Campbell and Wayne Gardner. Phyllis the leader. Now these
are very tight corners, and it's going to be difficult for people to get past Phyllis anywhere but the straight.
And Steve Trinder has forced himself in front of Wayne Gardner, and you can see what Malcolm Campbell's doing. He's rounded up Dowson. McElnay's coming with him, and
Trinder down. Steve Trinder is down.
Now Trinder had his front wheel taken away from him there. Another rider clipped across in front of him, and Trinder's front wheel touched the back wheel, and down he went.
Steve Watson's in there battling too. Let's have a look. Steve Trinder, number 6. No, he wasn't touched. He went down of his own accord. McElnay was swooping across the front of him. It was a fairly harmless fall.
Yes, I think Trinder may, in fact, have had to touch the brakes, realising that McElnay was in front.
Up the back straight, it's Robbie Phillips opening a lead on Malcolm Campbell.
Gardner's 5th.
Michael Dowson in 3rd position. McElnay 4th. Gardner right breathing down his neck. Outside run from Gardner on McElnay. McElnay in the inside again.
And will run him right to the outside of the track and give him no way out of the corner down there. And in fact, Michael Dowson swoops into the act too, showing no respect to the Australian international.
Phillips still on the lead. Campbell next. Dowson swoops around the outside of Gardner and around the outside of Campbell as well. It goes too wide and drops right out of contention behind the two of them.
So it's Phyllis, Gardner now 2nd, Malcolm Campbell in there, Michael Dowson, Rob McElnay back to 5th unbelievably. And Malcolm Campbell, as you can see, 4th at this stage. And look at this man doing a superlative job. A man who rides for Mick Hone motorcycles in Victoria. A heart far bigger than the body because he's a quite small build of a guy. But an electric little rider, Robbie Phillips, always full of fun, loves his racing, but so serious, quick and professional when he gets on the bike. And he knows there's no argument between his bike and that 150 horsepower Honda. The Honda very much lighter than his and at the same time more powerful. 3 laps completed, starting their 4th.
And now Gardner has a clear road in front of him. I really doubt that anyone's going to be able to do anything about it.
Still, amazingly, Robbie Phillips is 2nd. Michael Dowson got him now. Rob McElnay looking for him. Then it's Malcolm Campbell, Peter Radford, and further back Dave Peterson, the Zimbabwean.
Peterson there on the creepy crawly Honda. His bike is down on power compared with those two in front of him. Nowhere near as quick as the work Suzuki and the Honda. That's a private machine Peterson's riding.
And it's Kevin McGee behind Peterson. Actually, in this race, Peterson is running without the power valve, so he's losing out on mid-range torque on the Honda, a system that closes up the ports in the mid-range and lets the machine pull better at lower revs. Peterson has had to take that off bike P because he's having problems with it. He's lying immediately behind this battling pair of Malcolm Campbell on 3 and Peter Radford on P.
And we see that Rob McElnay has now stolen 3rd place away from Phyllis and has got his sights set on Dowson, number 1. That's McElnay on the Skull Bandit Suzuki. A space-age carbon fibre frame makes this bike handle really superbly, and McElnay can flick it through the corners in great style. You can see him braking deep into turns. That's something that this bike does exceptionally well.
There's the shot from Wayne Gardner's Rothmans Honda V4 as he comes through the Calder Park S's.
And he's closing up, I think, on Jeff Sale on the 750 Superbike Suzuki, which he should squirt past down the straight as the Honda pulls a little wheelie in and out of the slipstream, almost as you blink past Sale. Shows how lightningly fast this Honda is as he approaches another tail ender. Closing up now, and this is another 750 Suzuki. This is Robert Holden's bike, I think, just as a guess, as Gardner beams in and flashes past again, so much faster.
And yes, it was Robert Holden.
So we switch back to McElnay, who has got in front of Dowson and quite clearly away from him. Now McElnay with a clear road ahead of him for a little while before he comes upon a tail ender. He's going to have to try and make very good use of that to get clear of Dowson.
The design of... Oh, and look at that, coming up to Richard
Scott.
Bike number 5, Wayne Gardner, has to sit behind him out of the S's, then down the straight, winding from 2nd to 3rd to 4th, 5th gear, doesn't get into 6th, down the straight, 250 kilometres an hour, hard down on the brakes, the camera looking downwards as the bike goes down at the front, and then he gets back onto the throttle. And he gets on it, as you see, more sky, you know what the front wheel's doing, and look at the wind moving him around as well down that back straight.
Yes, as we see Gardner flicking the bike through the S's, apex to apex, almost touching each curve. You can guess that his knee's touching it because the knee is outboard off the camera, of course. Pulls wide, and then he'll come back towards the inside again as he accelerates onto the straight. Gardner pulling a little wheelie there. The only problem he has now really is concentration. He's just got to keep himself on the boil to make sure there are no minor mistakes, and being now an experienced Grand Prix man, I can't see him doing that. This race, of course, short by comparison with Grand Prix distance. You can see him moving his weight across the machine, backside slipping one side of the bike to the other as he pulls it through the S-bends. Very nicely done.
Wearing away his knee pads, comes out of the final corner, down the straight, in a superb, calm, well-planned riding exhibition. Wayne Gardner first in Heat 1 of Round 1 of the 8th Swan Insurance International Series. This heat and round being run at Calder Park, and a lovely ride by him. Michael Dowson on 1, the Pitman's TZ 750 holding 3rd place behind that man, Rob McElnay on the Skull Bandit Suzuki, who finishes 17 seconds behind Wayne Gardner. So it's V4 Honda in 1st place, the Rothmans Honda. It's the Square 4 Suzuki of Rob McElnay with the carbon fibre frame 2nd, and Michael Dowson, the 6-year-old.